nett, oder?
Sorry.
Same as my father. They must spend thousands of hours working out how to make the very most of every single pitch and the golden doors are. Do you know how this goes on?
How this opens. This one.
Was storage room.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Oh, hang on, Christos. The shoes are not underneath.
Okay,
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Now you go.
Great.
This you fly.
Yeah, but being a bit dirty.
Close to 10:30. Let me take off my shoes. Welcome in Düsseldorf. We are here at Boat Düsseldorf 2026, and obviously we are thrilled to have these two Axopar 38 XC cross cabins here on the stand. And let me check, this is hall 4. So a very warm welcome, a live Q&A, so feel free to ask me anything you'd like to know on the new Axopar 38. I have been fortunate to test a few prototypes in Unisaari, close to Helsinki, Finland, a couple of weeks ago. And to be honest, I really am happy with the design, the way the boat handles, the way they have, basically improved an already really good Axopar 37, which was already a very matured boat. But now the Axopar 38 really ticks all the boxes. And why I'm saying that, let me take you on board and go through a couple of things. Now, we have of course announced this video, and there is someone who has reacted. Am I saying this correctly, Kiki? Kiki, my daughter, is holding the camera and helping out. I think the person who is asking these questions is named Rob James. Am I correct, Kiki? Anyway, he asked quite a few questions, and while I'm here, there's a couple that I remember him asking via YouTube, and one of them obviously being about the new platforms. One is folded out here. As an option, you can get these really fantastic, is my personal opinion, activity platforms folded down, and he was asking what the maximum allowed weight is. Actually, it is a bit strange to stand on this because you see these quite thin lines here. These are not the ones carrying the weight, it's the construction. And to basically answer your question, it can carry even up to 3 tons, which is a huge amount. And before you start adding that on the platform, the boat will start leaning over, I personally think quite heavily, but it can carry quite a few persons here. If you're out on a beautiful day in the water, and if you're anchoring, and if it's really hot outside, I could imagine 4 guys sitting here with a nice cold beer, having fun with the legs in the water and cooling down. So I love them. There's plenty of uses for these activity platforms. One, of course, being stand-up paddling. It's easy to get on and off the board from either side of the boat by using these platforms. But for other stuff like maybe foiling, grandkids jumping in the water, it just opens up the boat and adds lots of nice opportunities. And another thing that Mr. James asked was about storage for fenders. If you have these also great new lounge seats, they are relatively small, but as you can see, they fit 2 fenders. I think these are the fenders that Axopar uses when you order the mooring package. And as you can see, they do hold 2 each. So if you have this lounge seat on both sides, you can have 4 fenders in the aft. There's further storage in the bow area, which I'll come to later. But already here, you could have 4 fenders in. Now there's an option also to have, besides this wet bar, which is also, of course, an option, you can also have an aft cabin with, for example, this lounge seat on the starboard side, but a smaller wet bar on the port side, which, to be honest, would be my personal preference, because you then have the best of both worlds. Having the aft cabin to sleep in, having this great lounge, small lounger right here on the starboard side, close to the activity platform, but still have the possibility to have a barbecue here, wash your hands, have added storage for cold drinks, etc. Thinking of other questions that Mr. James asked, storage for the bow table. Let's head to the bow, because a really good question. I'm doing this in the wrong way, because this boat has the sun lounge. Obviously, then you don't get the bow table. But this is an option which, to be honest, I think not many people will be choosing. I do love the upholstery. This is Silvertex Hunter, by the way. Green color, really nice, very practical. Still a nice setup, but the U sofa option, which I'll show you on the other boat if it's empty, is also great. Let me just briefly open this. There's storage underneath. And as you can see, if you order this, you have further storage for fenders, lines, the shore power cable, etc. But this, I would call it middle storage. You see there's 2 fenders in now, but it can carry maybe even up to 4. Unless you also put the table here, because this is the place where you store the tables. Axopar is still working on a solution to make it kind of a dedicated storage. But from experience, again, I tested it in Unisaari, Finland. I know that you can have the bow table in here, and if you have some fenders or lines around it, it won't damage the gel coat. So that works out just fine. And of course, just small details, nice gas strut. I love these to open them easily, and also this is for the water. Brings me to another question that I received about the capacity of the tanks. Now I know it in liters, sorry for the US people, but I'm sure you can convert it. The waste tank can hold 75 liters, the water tank can hold 150 liters, and the fuel tank 830 liters. Of course, there's a bow locker also in which the anchor winch is placed. And I'm nearly sure that this, let me quickly check. Yeah, I'm positive because I see this gas line, etc. This is the holder for the small gas tank, is if you want like a small gas stove and the optional pantry in the forward cabin, which I'll also come to later. Let me close this. And I brought the measuring tape, as you probably have already noticed, because another question was about the length of the lounger, and especially with the two bucket seats in front. Well, let me just unfold this. To be honest, I do perfectly understand the question, because I think people might be using this for additional sleeping capacity. But if you want it, I think you need to order the optional sofa here, because this is 2 meters, and as you can see, it's 2 meters up to here, so you're missing this piece, and up to here it's 173-ish, which for small people or kids is just fine, so it works fine with the bucket seats. But to be honest, if you order the optional sofa there, which is installed on the other boat, so we'll come to that later. I measured it, but then you get 2 meters. I'll check again. I think it was 2 meters 20 to be exact. And just for your understanding, you have a sofa here with a reversible backrest. And if you fold the backrest in that direction and slide the sofa against this cushion, it offers a huge lounge area here, which again can be used for sleeping, but also in the evening when you're reading a book or maybe even watching a nice movie or whatever. This is just a really nice place to be. And of course there's a table also. I'm quickly checking if this has yes, it does. I won't pull it up completely because that may take too much time. And let me talk a bit in the meantime. I love this setup, and this also is optional when you want to have the table electrically lowered or put up again. This is an option, and I think this is an option that many of at least our clients will be ordering, because as you can see, this it's even a bit too high, is my personal. This is a nice practical detail, because I sometimes took my Axopar 37 out and do a bit of working with a laptop, and it actually is quite nice to have a table a bit higher in that case. So this is a great place to do some working, but of course the boat is there to have fun mostly. And this is a really nice U sofa. Not only that, you have a second seat row. I'm checking if I can find, yep, I'm checking for the other cushion. This is what you do when you want to use this while driving for another group of people who also want to see what's going on. This is actually quite nice. I'm 1.92 meters. I have big feet. There's plenty of place. They opened this up underneath so that you can place your foot here. And this actually sits quite comfortable. I personally think that this may require a bit of fine-tuning, because I know from experience with the test drives that we had 8 guys or so on board in the cockpit at the same time. This could fall off relatively easily. Minor detail. I do love the bucket seats. They're really nice, but my personal preference definitely would be the optional sofa here. A really nice thing. And while I'm at it, you may have noticed this upholstery. This is the standard upholstery, which is called Base Camp, which I love. It makes it very warm, cozy. The atmosphere is quite good. And you may have seen my other video. I mentioned, let us change places, Kiki, because I want to point out the helm also, because you have the green dash here. There's green here, and there's green here. There's a slight sparkling thing in it. And actually, I was a bit, how shall I put it? I didn't quite like it from the start, but now having seen it, especially in this color combination, I think it's nice. I like it. These two NSS 4 screens I also love. I don't think the information display is on the option list. I'm not sure it's coming. I do like this setup, especially from experience, because having buttons in rough conditions is really valuable. So I would certainly go for the twin 12-inch NSS4 options. A really good and practical thing also is this phone holder with a magnet in, so even my big iPhone can get in here and be charged in the meantime. Another detail, the Simrad VHFs now have the AIS solution for both receiving and sending the AIS signal, which is really good. Heating brings me to another thing. Axopar Connect is a new option. Please search on YouTube on what that offers. Won't go into detail. Axopar is still working on a solution to also remotely control things as heating, maybe aircon, fridge, etc. Some things are already possible, but I think it's still under development and can only get better than it, I personally think, already is. Let me go in the bow area, because this is one of the possible setups, which is really open, which is nice. And I had my Axopar 37 XC in a similar setup, really open, nice area, I loved it. But to be honest, I think most people will be ordering the other one with the separate toilet option and also the pantry. This does offer nice things because this is a great place to sit also. I wonder how many people will actually be doing that, but this is a nice place to sit. Let me fold down this so you get a feel of how this area is. It's really great, and you can even have a table here, a nice wooden table, so you can sit here when in the morning maybe you're still in your underwear and you want to have your first breakfast or coffee. This is a nice place to sit, and obviously you can also sleep here. Let me try it. Yeah, fold this down. Also very practical. Brings me to another question that we received before, storage. You see that there's storage here. It's not big, but there is storage underneath. And it looks like there's more storage there, but this is a bit big discussion to take away now. But I have a feel that there might be some further storage there. Talking about storage, there was also a question about the cabinet. If you choose the pantry option, and as far as I understand, you cannot have both. This is added storage, as you can see. You could hang some clothes here. It is practical. If you do choose the pantry option, you could have a work surface or a small stove here, which is really nice, but the sacrifice is that this is no longer possible. So you have to figure out other ways to put your clothes somewhere else. In practice, I just took my wife out. We had our summer holiday on our Axopar 37. We always sleep in the aft cabin, but this week usually called our garage because we put all our clothes and other stuff here on the bed in the bow. But it is kind of personal. Again, if you choose the other option, which I think most people will be doing, this is the sacrifice you make. You can still have this cooling drawer, which I think is a great addition. It's always good to have plenty of place to put cold drinks. This is a small locker, and two more drawers, one being short because of this sink here, which you'll also get when you choose the pantry. And this folds down to get in and out of the forward cabin. Let me also fold this up. This is the way to go. And just as a coincidence, I happened to see the bow table, which is here. Let me briefly take it out so that you get an idea on how it looks. It's this, it folds, and it goes right here. Somewhere, something like this. Really nicely done. Let me take this up. I'll quickly put it back here. Suggest we walk to the other boat. Maybe Kiki can, before we do that, check the questions that were asked before we started this live stream, so that we don't forget to check things on this boat. And while Kiki hopefully is doing that, let me also talk a bit about the engines, because another question that I saw was about charging. charging a lithium battery set, which now is an option on the Axopar 38. These are fantastic engines. These two are V8 300 horsepower engines. Optionally, you could have the V10 in a 350 horsepower option, also great. Both have really powerful alternators. The 300s have alternators with a maximum capacity of 115 amps, and the V10s 150 amps maximum. Of course, depending on RPM, temperature conditions, etc. But they are really powerful. And what Axopar has done is basically optimized the capacity that these two alternators, because they're each offering this capacity, optimizing the use of this really great capacity by and thereby achieving a way of basically normal regular use balancing out the use. What I mean by that is if you take your boat out, usually you're on shore power when it's in the marina, you go away, batteries are full, and then you start using it, you drive, you anchor somewhere, you maybe even sleep over, you drive another half a day or so, and with normal use, the batteries, all of them, even with the added capacity, are charged and balanced. So a really great solution. There is there's a solution for Mercury to have 48 volt alternators, which are also a nice and interesting solution. And it could have advantages. I won't go all too much into detail, but Axopar chose not to use that because already with the normal system, the 12 volt system, this works out just fine in practice. And they tested this also during the event which we had in Unisaari, Finland, because there was no shore power, and I was there, and at some points they started the engines, because obviously the boats are lying there, there's many dealers going around, the lights are on, the screens are on, the engines are started, stopped just to hear the sound, and experience the noise level, etc. So you drain the batteries, because they're not charged via shore power, but in experience, the experience that Axopar and also I had during that event is that if you run them for some time at slightly higher RPM, around the 1000 RPM, they charge batteries and keep them level. So a really great system. And coming back to the 48 volt, Axopar chose not to use that option, not to make the boat too complicated, because then you'd have 12 volt, 48 volt and 230 volt systems on board, making it a bit complicated. I think this is the way to go. Kiki, other questions?
What is the weight limit on the fold-down swing platform?
Yeah, the weight limit, I think I mentioned that at the start. The weight limit on the activity platforms is 3 tons, 3,000 kilograms. A lot, way too much. You won't be using it, but again, it just is the feeling of safety it can carry it. Yeah.
And what is the weight limit for the roof racks?
The roof racks, you'll see on this boat. On this boat we have them in black. This is a Brabus line, by the way. This is a normal one with a stainless steel. These are powder coated in black, like the roof racks. They have a total capacity of 50 kilograms. I checked this morning with people from Axopar. I think they are really on the safe side there, because my gut feeling just says that it could even carry more. I really don't want to say that out loud. Normal use, you see here on the show a kayak on the 45 there, and you see a stand-up pedal board and an e-foil board. I'm sure they will have taken the battery out, because that is really heavy and you really don't want to carry that on top of the roof. But still, for normal use, stand-up pedal boards, e-foil boards, bikes, no problem. Other questions?
Is the retractable roof, can it be mosquito-proof, or can it be made so?
A good one. We do need to go back into this boat, not only for the mosquitoes, but also to check how easily it opens. But there's a few people on board at the moment. But The retractable roof is a really nice solution, a really nice feature of the Axopar 38. And of course we know it from the 28, the 37, etc. Fantastic. My experience is that if you use the extra cover on the outside, then yes it is. If you don't, which many of my customers do, I'm not sure, because there's thin openings through which mosquitoes might come in. But my advice always is to use the outside cover because you close it off. I am from the Netherlands. We sell Axopar boats in the Netherlands and Belgium mainly. And our climate there just basically requires that you use these extra covers for insulation, but also to protect the fabric of the sun roof, because if you leave it like that in strong sun conditions and maybe even salty conditions, let's head in the meantime, in salty conditions, and they tend to deteriorate in a couple of years. So again, my suggestion is to use it, and then it's mosquito proof. This is the manual roof, and one of the advantages, and pushing it all the way back, one of the advantages of having this in a manual setup is that this is smaller than when you have the electric. I didn't measure it, but there's a difference. So the opening is slightly bigger, it's not a lot, but it's slightly bigger. And of course, it's something, if you do this, it's relatively easy. You do this, you close it. Well, I think somebody turned, it's this one which I'm forgetting. I need to put that down. I'm turning it in the wrong way. Obviously, I'm used to the electric version. Why am I doing something wrong? I think this needs some fine-tuning. Anyway, it usually works fine. I'm laughing. Of course, this also is a prototype. I have seriously considered ordering my 37 with a manual version because I can open it relatively simple, and it's something that basically cannot break down. On boats you really need to be careful not to add all too much because things can also break down. I'm not saying that this happens in practice. But then again, I'm 1.92 m and you see me standing like this. This is quite okay, but imagine being 1.75 m or so, which my wife is, then this is a problem. And that's why I have it electric. And my advice would be, this is not a cheap boat to order this as an option because it's really nice to push a button. And again, the compromise there is that it, well, my feeling says it goes up to here. It's maybe a 5 to 10 centimeter difference. Okay, other questions, Kiki? Shall we move over to the other boat in the meantime? Let me talk upholstery again while Kiki is checking the questions. What you need to do if you want to configure a 38 is choose both the upholstery for the inside and the upholstery for the outside. You did see the upholstery, the standard upholstery, which is called Base Camp, which is on that boat. This boat has the other option, which is called Montera, this upholstery. This is the other option. So these are the choices you can make for the inside interior. And on the outside, this is one option. This is a Mediterrana upholstery. And this is basically a new color, anthracite, I think it's called. And maybe you can turn around the camera, Kiki. This Axopar 29 Sontop has the other option, which is the brownish, beige looking Mediterrana. That's the other choice. And again, another choice is the Silvertex Hunter, the green one. And you can also have the Silvertex Petrol, which we know from the Axopar 37 and other boats.
Why would you not option for the bar storage unit in the wheelhouse? Does it intrude on the space?
Good question. Let's head inside. Now I can jump over. Maybe you need to walk around, Kiki, because we need to be in the cockpit. Let me jump around here. And while Kiki is walking around, I'm entering the cockpit and taking my measure out again. It gets kind of difficult because the boat is getting very full. But again, this needs to slide back. This is 2 meters up to here, which is halfway the cushion, and I measured this morning there's approximately 20 centimeters more if you swivel this backrest to that side. So you have a huge bed/lounge area. And you asked the question also about this cabinet. Let me just quickly fold this away. Also, this is an option that I would certainly recommend. The question was why you would not choose it. Well, the basic answer is probably money, because of course there's a cost involved, but I like it. And not only because it has added storage capacity, it's not deep, but it does have added storage capacity, so glasses and bottles of nice red wine, whatever you want to bring, this is a great place to put it in. But not only that, it's nice warm wood, so it adds to the atmosphere, is my personal opinion. Forgetting anything here? Well, maybe Kiki can step back 1 minute or 1 moment, because this boat, I didn't see this during the testing of the prototype. This boat has the aft folding window. Excuse me, I just want to try this on the video. Sorry. So this closes off like this. This is the manual version, which for me would work just fine. As you can see, I can open and close it from the inside easily. Let me just open it. It works just fine. No problem. You can have it in an electric setup also, but the same applies here as with the optional roof. Things can break down if you have this in an electric setup. I haven't seen it in an electric setup yet. It's not here on the show. But already this, the manual version, it is an option to have it openable, but this works out just fine, is my personal experience.
Any chance on getting the Verado to act as a generator for the lithium batteries like the Axopar?
Yeah, that I already answered, Kiki. That was about the alternators on the engines. So that question I already answered. Let me quickly show you this. This is something that I didn't see in Helsinki. But this is nice if you lounge here, that you have further ways of using this as a backrest. And also on the inside, maybe you can come in when it's not so busy. There's storage underneath these 2 backrests if you put them in the upward position. Can you come inside, Keek? There's some people. It's busy. It's a Monday, but even on a Monday, it's busy. But let me just keep them open for a moment. There's storage right here. So for some small things, like phones, keys, well, small books, whatever you want to bring, there's storage underneath. Let me close it again. Other questions that we missed?
Is there an option for a washdown hose at the anchor?
Quick answer, no. Sorry. There's no option for a washdown in the bow. I know in the US people tend to use it, but it's not there. Then again, we as Campers Watersport can do a lot of things. I've had an Axopar 28 where I had a deck wash installed, loved it because it's easy to clean. We're in fresh water, it's very easy if you're at anchor. Cleaning your boat without emptying the drink water tank is a fine solution. So it's not possible as an Axopar option. We could work something out, and if you are considering that, I would recommend having a deck wash pump installed. And let me, well, Kiki is double checking if there are leftover questions or maybe even new questions. This is the other setup where you have the pantry. And as you can see, you also have this small place to rinse stuff. And optionally, you can have this gas stove here. And also here, they installed the optional cooling drawer. But very important and nice, maybe, Kiki, you could step back a bit so that I open the toilet door. So you can see how nice that is. And while Kiki is showing the toilet area, there's a curtain here, and the door can also stay in another position. So if you're here, and if as an owner you sleep in the aft cabin and if you have guests, during the night, I think you close the door like this, and there's a curtain here, which folds out like this. So with that you have added privacy, which I think is a really nice, practical solution. Let me close it again. So very well thought through. Well done, Axopar. I don't have my full hands, but I want to keep the boat nice and tidy during the show. So, and again, this is the Montera upholstery right here. Different upholstery. Also here on this boat, you can fold down the backrest. So this doubles as a double bed. Really nice solution. And let's also go outside and check out the U sofa in the bow area. People may know this from the Axopar 29. I think it works out just fine. It is a really nice solution. It's practical. You have backrests here, you have cup holders, and sorry about that. There's a table here, which can go either forward or aft. There's 3 places to have it down here on the ground in the bow area. So either you use it like this, you have some lunch, you sit around here, or you take it more forward so you can walk around that area more easily, or you even lower the table, because there's a solution also to have it on this height with a filler piece so that you have another sun lounge here. Of course, there's also sunshades, which are possible both in the bow area and in the aft. And also here, there's the anchor hatch with the anchor winch underneath and the gas bottle right there. And what we call the middle storage right here. Let me see what's in this boat. Well, it's basically empty. But again, as you noticed on the other boats, there's plenty of place for the bow table, for further fenders, for the shore power cable, or whatever you want to bring. And also here, of course, here you see the short table legs, if you want to take the table down. And here there's obviously some stuff that goes with the new boat. Also, there's further storage. So again, this is the optional U sofa setup in the bow area, which I personally think is really great. I'm trying to think if there's anything I'm forgetting. Maybe we can walk to the aft, because I did not show you the aft cabin option. Let me head down. There's a folding platform also here, the activity platform. And this has the optional aft cabin with also the lounger. This would be my personal preference as a setup. With this nice lounge, the folding down activity platform, this is a really nice solution. And especially with the wet bar on the other side, as you see, you have a sink here. There's some storage right here, and this is a really big extra cooler. So a really fantastic setup. Of course, you can fold this down. By the way, this is the optional outside shower, and this closes off. Some things blocking it. This closes off like this, really nice and clean. This you can have as an option. At least this you can order from Axopar, so you can have solutions like these. I personally prefer the COB, the C-O-B-B barbecue, but still, this is a great option. And maybe, Jan-Ove, may I disturb you just 1 second? I want to open up the...
No problem.
Thank you. I want to open up this aft cabin, the lounge area, just to show you this option, which we know from the Axopar 29. A great way to get stuff in and out, and maybe in the future even use it for added ventilation. Then again, Kiki, perhaps you can also try to film this. There's portholes on either side. These tinted windows also in them, so you cannot see from the outside in easily. And there's mosquito nets also that come with these portholes, which by the way are also fitted in the gull-wing doors, the optional gull-wing doors in the bow. You have these same portholes there, also with mosquito nets. So nice ventilation. I love the aft window here, which brings in light into the aft cabin, so a great solution. Did we get any new questions? No? Let's wrap up this video. I just want to say thank you for watching, thank you for asking all these questions. If there's some questions I didn't answer but you still are wondering about, please leave them in the remarks section and I will answer them later. We have a very busy show ahead. It may take a few days, but I love the interaction about any boat basically, and Axopar definitely is in my heart, so I would gladly answer your questions even though I'm only the dealer for the Netherlands and Belgium. But thank you for watching this video and hope to see you on the water. Bye.